Hello again everyone, and welcome to another episode of Week in Review from CitizenCitadel. We've got 10 news items for you this week, including 3.1.2, 3.1.3, exclusive in-game T-Shirts, and the roadmap update, including 3.5. So with that said, let's jump right in. Starting at number 10, we've got 3.1.2. 3.1.2 was finally pushed to the live service this week after 5 revisions in the PTU. Its primary focus was fixing bugs and crashes, and improving player persistence overall. Players now have the option to recover their session on a client crash by pressing a button in the menu. This will respawn you in your ship, with your cargo, in or as close to the place that you crashed. CIG also recognised the increased number of players doing missions as a way of making AUEC, and allowed the server to generate more missions at a time. Overall, this is a very useful patch, even if we did get all of our credits reset. At number 9, we've got 3.1.3. 3.1.3 also made its way to the live servers this week on Saturday morning. Its primary focus was fixing many of the server-side crashes that were still plaguing 3.1. The 3.1.2 patch allowed recovery from client-side crashes, but did nothing for crashes on the server side. As such, CIG went away and fixed as many of the server-side crashes as they could find. A couple of smaller fixes also found their way in, with AI pilots no longer getting stuck in idle and staying that way no matter what you did to them, and the Revel and York hangar once again allowing size 5 and above ships. Again, another fantastic patch, and it's great to see CIG really nailing this development. At number 8, we have the 100 series. So the 100 series is still on sale this week, with Warbond packages available. Many have argued that LTI is useless, but for those of you who want to pick it up anyway, now is a good time. The 100i makes a great LTI token to hang on to and upgrade in the future. For those new players, bear in mind that it's still in concept sale and won't be available this year. We don't know when it will be released, but you'll get a 300i to borrow in the meantime. The 100i is a great starter ship from Origin, and perfect for any beginner wanting to fly something with style. At number 7, we have another letter from the chairman. This week saw another letter from Chris Roberts, showing his appreciation for over 2 million registered accounts. To show his appreciation, all players in before 2 million will receive a limited edition in-game T-shirt for your character. If you are in before 1 million, you'll also receive another limited edition T-shirt with the 1 million logo. You should be able to see it in your account now, but it's not currently in the game. You'll also receive the relevant badges on Spectrum to show off your support. At number 6, we have the roadmap update. Starting with 3.2, most of the progress consisted of breaking up tasks into smaller subtasks this week. This makes it easier for CIG to work on them, and for us to understand what's going on. The biggest improvements this week were Item 2.0 at 6%. The Avenger rework and the mining mechanic are both coming along with an extra 3% gained. Moving on to 3.3, the development of the rest stop went from 18% to 65%. This is huge progress and brings us in line with Lorville and Hurston. The Constellation Phoenix is also making some progress, with an extra 5% increase. Modular missions and racing has appeared on the 3.3 roadmap. This splits up missions into modules to make them faster to add in the future, simply having to drag and drop components together to build a mission. There's also a new racing mode called Scramble, which involves racing to destroy beacons. This is big news for all of the racing fans out there. Moving on, 3.5 was added to the roadmap this week. We won't cover all of the items, but we will highlight a select few. It's still very early days on this roadmap, and things are likely to be moved around and changed. The first big feature is Refineries. This allows us to buy and sell ore and minerals. You'll be able to fill up your ship mining, and then fly to a refinery and sell it all. Traders will then be able to go to the refinery and pick up the refined minerals. This adds a whole new level to gameplay, and will be a really interesting mechanic. Next up, we have the Com Array revision. This disappeared last week from the 3.3 roadmap, but made its way onto 3.5. It adds elements to the data runner gameplay, so it's not unreasonable that we saw it move to 3.5. Next up, we have liquid and gas exploration. This allows us to search, identify, and extract liquid and gases from rocks. This will be another interesting mechanic to add to the game, and will improve the gameplay experience. Next up, we have data running. This will allow you to run data between two locations and create data. For example, if you're a miner and you find a vein of a rare ore, you can pinpoint the location and then sell that data. Finally, we have long-range scanning. The clue is in the name, but it allows you to scan wider areas of space, find points of interest, and quantum travel there. To round off 3.5, CIG are working on the 890 jump and the Banu Defender, for all of you Banu fans out there. At number 5, we have lore content. This week we received another installment of the One Good Deed series. This is the story of Umar the repair technician getting his ship hijacked and being held hostage. Umar has to convince his captor to let him help a ship in need before it's too late. It's an excellent series and I'd recommend it to any citizen. I'll put the links in the video description, and I strongly encourage that you go and check it out. At number 4, we've got this week's Around the Verse. Ship components will start to affect the overall performance of a ship. For example, older, more worn parts might overheat more, or not perform as well as they once did. Weapons will start to overheat and may occasionally misfire, and ship components will start to experience wear and tear, needing to be repaired or replaced as they get older and start to break down. All of these things will be hugely beneficial in improving the economy and giving finite life cycles to ships. This week, CIG also gave us a glimpse into how mining might work. At the moment, it looks as if we heat a rock using a laser to break it down, and then use a tractor beam to collect the ore. CIG have told us, however, that this is not the final iteration of the mining process, and it is likely to change. We also got sneak peeks at Hurston, Lawville, and the rest stops. All of these are progressing well and are beginning to look quite fleshed out. We're expecting to see them in 3.3, and this is a good indication that we might see them on time. We also got a look into the deeper workings of the character customizer. We learned that it's built on top of a tagging system, making it more flexible and scalable to add components in the future. CIG also added fidget animations to make the character feel a bit more human when stood around being customized. Many issues were faced getting hair to fit under hats and helmets, but these should now be resolved. The plan in the future is to have specialist body mod stores that you need to travel to in order to change the different components of your appearance. Moving on to number 3, we have this week's Reverse the Verse. This week we had the audio team on Reverse the Verse, answering all of your questions about the audio in Star Citizen. First off, we discovered that the maximum number of sounds that can be played in the verse is 256. CIG don't want too many because they want to carefully craft each sound experience, rather than overloading you with audio. CIG is planning on stepping up the bass in the future to make it feel like a more cinematic experience. They need to figure out how to do this properly without it muddying up the sound and making it sound terrible. Next off, citizens asked if you'd be able to play your own music in the game. The jukebox already exists and can play music in your hangar, but they will be looking to expand this into the full game in the future. Then we learned that CIG make most, if not all, of the sound effects for the game in-house. CIG confirmed that ship sounds will change depending on the components that are installed. For example, bigger engines or engines from a different manufacturer will likely have a different signature sound. They also confirmed that tools such as a flashbang will affect audio in the world, and the audio will be reactive to the situation that you're in. This will increase immersion overall, and it's a really cool feature to have. We also found out that as wear and tear starts to happen, the sound of objects will start to change to reflect that. So as a component gets older, it may start to make a rattling noise. Many citizens asked at what stage in the ship pipeline does audio work take place. The team confirmed that the audio work generally starts in the white box stage, but gets into full swing when the ship itself becomes flyable. This is due to many manufacturers having a unique sound which they can work with in white box, but they can't link sounds to the ship until it gets into flyable stage. Next off, voice command for ships may be considered in the future, but there are no plans for CIG to implement it at the moment. Finally, many players asked about the inclusion of VoIP. Most of the audio tech is in place for VoIP, but it's relying on other teams to build the backend and structures to support this. That was all from RTV this week, and if you want to know more about the audio and how it works, head to the RTV video linked in this description. At number 2, we've got the Free Fly event. Many new citizens got involved in the Free Fly this week, so much so that CIG decided to extend the event by 2 days to allow everyone a chance to play. We don't have the official numbers, but there were some very full servers this weekend. CIG dropped 3.1.2 just in time for the Free Fly event, but there were still several server issues as they tried to cope with the load. As a result of the Free Fly, CIG claims, the Cyclone will now be put on permanent sale in the Pledge Store. This is good news all round for everyone who wants to play Planetside. And finally, at number 1, we have the community overview. This week hosts the latest BritainCon in the UK. Many devs and fans will be attending, and I'll be sure to bring you all the news and updates in next week's Week in Review. They've got a host of fantastic prizes to be won, including a 6-unit crate from JFR Fabrication. It's certainly not one to miss. That's all from me for this week. Please leave a comment letting me know what you thought, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in next week's Week in Review.